1960.
In 1960, just after independence.
After independence.
And you came on on what kind of passport did you come on?
British protected passport.
After the ration period, which was absolutely necessary for later booms, in 1960, all British colonies were given their independence.
The Gulf of Aden as a transport route is hugely important because without the Gulf of Aden you can't get to the Suez Canal, so your choices are limited. Then you have to go right the way around the southern part of Africa, which adds a long time to anybody's journey. So we can think right back to the Suez Crisis in the 50s and the Anglo-French invasion of Egypt and takeover of the Suez Canal, showing the importance of this sea route. Obviously brought down the British government. We look back to the takeover of Egypt by the British government in the 1850s, again around the Suez Canal, around protecting this trade route. So this is a really crucial trade route.
Well, I have seen 3 governments, so I can only tell about the 3 governments. And before that, my knowledge is only from my parents and things like that. But what I saw during the Emperor Haile Selassie, at the time, the majority of the people thought the king was a divine person from God. Therefore, very few rebelled against him.
When the Berlin Accord was being manufactured, the King Emperor Menelikis wrote an open letter to the Europeans stating that if there is to be a scrambles of Africa, it wanted to be a part of it. In effect, offering its country's services for the reward being infinite support for the king and his affiliates. Throughout the scrambles, the natural resources of the continent were robbed. A major part of colonisation was setting up train tracks facing the seas to export the natural resources into Europe. But our neighbour was privileged to have a train track built in order for it to be the recipient of goods. The Ogaden is full of nomadic pastorals, making them the best of poets. Interestingly, the side was from the Ogaden. So was the mother of the last president, Siad Barre. In fact, he was born there, showing that people who are born in a struggle, their struggle creates an extraordinary person.
The basis of one man, one vote, they want political independence.
Following this impressive period in history where one man fought for his freedom and for the freedom of his country, the project was to be continued. The land became British Somaliland, Italian Somaliland and French Somaliland proper. The colonial powers had different objectives.
When they came, they changed our people, completely our mindset.
Yeah.
That completely you are different. They are different. You know, he is an African, and you are more like an Arab or like us.
The South was productive, people were educated, schools were built, the Italians integrated into society and culture. However, the North was the complete opposite. People were not educated, tribalism was taught to the people as a way of life. Areas were known as Bokin and in later years India Lane. The only point of interest was the port of Berbera and shipping livestock to Aden. After the Second World War, the Cold War started, with countries either being endorsed by the West or the Soviet Union. In 1969, Siad Barre, a military general, took over in a military coup. The general was a Marxist student and warmed to the idea of nationalism and nationalisation. Everything became nationalised. Banks, hospitals, schools, all ran and owned by the state. People were ordered to be self-sufficient. Everyone was equal. Yeah. Yeah, and then
democracy bay ahayd markii dambeetana waxa yiri military regime bay
yeah.
marka leeyahay gurjoog aad buu shaqeeyay la sabta 7 sano ugu horeeyay shaqo wanaagsan bay qabteen Afrika badan bay caawineen Djibouti loo sameeyay dawladda Djibouti ka dhisan.
In 1991, all Soviet-endorsed or affiliated countries came to an end except Cuba. The Berlin Wall marked this ending. East met West peacefully. Europe changed. New countries were formed. There was only one superpower in town now, and a new map of Europe was drawn. 10 years to the date of this incident, on September the 11th, 1991, George Bush Sr. makes the announcement of all by declaring,
"What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order."
The largest military force in Africa fell. The new world order of Somalia was civil war and segregation. The military wing, the Shabab, also regrouped and returned. This war continues, with the Shabab controlling major areas in the south and now the west of the country. As long as there is a disconnect between the leaders and their populace, the corruption of everyday living, the Shabab idea will continue. Not only continue, but flourish. The only way to defeat the Shabab is to act like them. President Obama seems to understand this the most.
This effort must be based on performance. The days of providing a blank check are over.
What outrages people about the Shabab is their terrorist and Al-Qaeda wing, including foreign fighters. What frightens the world is, most recently, as reported by the Times Online, on our doorstep in West Ealing, a young Somalian boy aged 18 disappeared, entered Kenya, passed the border and joined the Shabab movement. The Minneapolis 20, who again disowned their adopted country America, drew alliances to the Shabab.
Particularly Somalia, it pains me. These senseless warlords should come together, hopefully one day. They are shame of Africa, by the way. I'm sorry, I can say it. And they are. And look what they have done to their own country. Just having that village, and I am a king of this village, I'm the chief of this village, I'm the lord of this tribe.
Everything is for him.
Therefore, that is absolutely, if they do that, Somalia would be as ungoverned as now for a long period of time.